Money does not need to argue to win the room. It decides whose sentences get finished and whose voices fade mid-thought. You think confidence decides who leads, but income already chose before anyone spoke. Watch any meeting long enough, and you will see it. The highest earner interrupts without apology. The lowest earner softens every opinion before it lands. No one names this shift out loud, yet everyone adjusts their posture around it. Power moves quietly through bank accounts, and people feel it in their chest before they understand why. Financial pressure is not loud, it is positional. When your income feels unstable, your body knows you cannot afford social risk. You speak longer to defend simple points. You over-explain neutral ideas. You add disclaimers before clear statements. It sounds polite, it feels strategic, it signals lower rank. The room responds before logic enters the space. Shorter sentences signal security. Security signals value. Value attracts attention. This is not about skill, it is about perceived financial stability. People track it unconsciously. They scan clothes, tone, confidence, and lifestyle cues. They calculate earning power in seconds. If you feel financially exposed, your nervous system tightens your voice. You wait for permission. You hedge clean thoughts. You try to avoid being wrong in public. That hesitation lowers perceived authority. The room senses strain. Strain lowers status. No one announces this hierarchy. It settles in silently. And once it settles, your words carry the weight of your bank balance. Financial rank did not start in boardrooms. It started at your kitchen table. You learned early who was allowed to speak about money and who was told to stay quiet. You watched tension enter the room when bills were opened. You felt the shift in tone when costs were mentioned. Money was never neutral. It carried mood. It carried fear. It carried authority. If money felt scarce, voices became sharp or small. If money felt tight, someone controlled the conversation. You learned fast where you stood. Some children learned to stay invisible during financial stress. Others learned to become useful. Some tried to be perfect to reduce burden. Some became quiet to avoid adding pressure. The lesson was simple. Money decides who creates problems and who solves them. That lesson does not disappear in adulthood. It becomes posture. It becomes tone. It becomes how long you speak before pausing for approval. If you grew up around financial instability, your body links money with social risk. Speaking boldly feels unsafe. Disagreement feels dangerous. Visibility feels expensive. You may now earn more than your parents ever did. The body does not update easily. It still scans for signs of withdrawal. It still expects punishment for financial mistakes. It still believes security can vanish overnight. So in rooms with higher earners, your nervous system remembers old hierarchies. It remembers who had power at the table. It remembers who controlled outcomes. And without thinking, you adjust. You soften certainty. You over-clarify harmless ideas. You seek subtle permission before finishing strong statements. This is not insecurity in the simple sense. It is conditioning. Your childhood taught you what money does to authority. Now every room becomes a replay of that lesson. Your nervous system does not care about logic in the room. It cares about survival. When money feels uncertain, your body reads the room as a threat field. A higher earner does not just represent skill, they represent stability. Stability attracts loyalty. Your body knows this before your mind does. If your income feels fragile, your heart rate shifts during disagreement. Your breathing shortens when challenged. You feel heat in your chest when interrupted. This is not weakness, it is survival wiring. In early environments, financial instability often meant emotional instability. Raised voices followed unpaid bills. Silence followed financial shame. Your nervous system linked money with safety. So now when someone with visible financial power speaks over you, your body reads dominance. It lowers volume to avoid escalation. It increases explanation to prevent rejection. It searches faces for approval signals. This happens in seconds. You think you are choosing to be careful. Your body believes it is avoiding loss. Loss once meant conflict. Conflict once meant risk. Risk once meant isolation. The nervous system prefers belonging over accuracy. It will sacrifice clarity to stay included. Higher earners often sound calm during pressure. Their income signals lower immediate threat. Lower threat allows shorter speech. Shorter speech signals certainty. Certainty pulls attention. Meanwhile, you feel the need to justify neutral positions. You feel the urge to prove value in real time. The more you prove, the less authority you project. The body cannot separate financial exposure from social exposure. To it, they are the same danger. At some point, this stops being about meetings. It becomes about loyalty. If you out-earn your past, you risk outgrowing your origin. Many people carry an invisible contract with their family. Do not rise too far. Do not become different. Do not make others uncomfortable with your stability. So when income begins to shift upward, guilt enters quietly. You downplay success in conversations. You soften ambition in group settings. You hesitate before claiming authority. Part of you fears social exile. If you grew up in scarcity, earning more can feel like betrayal. If your friends still struggle, your progress creates distance. Distance feels like loss. The nervous system protects connection over expansion, so it slows you down. It encourages you to speak smaller. It frames power as arrogance. It frames confidence as threat. You remain financially close to your reference group, not by strategy, by identity. Identity protects belonging. Belonging feels safer than status. This creates an invisible ceiling. You may increase income, yet still carry the posture of financial caution. You avoid commanding rooms even when qualified. You let louder earners set direction. You shrink influence to preserve attachment. No one asks you to do this. The contract lives inside you. Money now threatens identity stability, so you unconsciously regulate your own authority to remain acceptable. Now the mechanisms tighten. Loss aversion doesn't only affect investing, it shapes speech. When income feels unstable, social loss feels expensive. You protect against it in real time. You avoid bold claims. You stretch explanations to reduce the chance of being wrong. The brain calculates risk before every sentence. Present bias adds pressure. Immediate approval feels safer than long-term authority. So you trade sharp statements for instant comfort. You secure nods instead of influence. Guilt loops run underneath. If you carry inherited scarcity, earning more never feels stable. You expect reversal. You anticipate collapse. That expectation leaks into posture. You hold back visible confidence as insurance. Money dysmorphia distorts perception. You may earn enough to be secure, yet still feel financially fragile. The body reacts to the feeling, not the number. So even with rising income, your tone signals caution. Others respond to that caution. They test you more. They interrupt sooner. Identity-based income ceilings add another layer. If your self-image caps at a certain level, exceeding it feels unsafe. You unconsciously return to familiar ground. You downplay authority. You defer to higher earners even when you match them. These mechanisms do not operate separately. They stack. Loss aversion feeds over-explanation. Guilt feeds modesty. Dysmorphia feeds hesitation. The room reads it all. None of it is visible on paper. All of it shapes rank in seconds. Over time, this stops looking like a small speech pattern. It becomes a narrowed range of behavior. You volunteer less in high-stakes rooms. You avoid direct disagreement with higher earners. You choose safer roles in group dynamics. You become the explainer, not the decider. The pattern feels rational. It feels polite. It feels strategic. But your world begins to shrink. You apply for roles slightly below your edge. You accept pay increases without authority increases. You stay visible enough to matter, but not exposed enough to threaten hierarchy. Conversations become rehearsed. You prepare for pushback before it happens. You filter strong opinions through layers of caution. Your sentences grow longer. Your tone grows softer. Others begin finishing your thoughts. At first, it feels collaborative. Later, it feels normal. Eventually, it feels deserved. Your nervous system prefers predictable rank over unstable ascent, so it guides you toward familiar ceilings. You spend more time proving than directing. You seek validation from those above you. You distance from those below to avoid guilt. The middle becomes your safe zone. Too much authority triggers fear. Too little triggers shame. So you hover. Rooms start to treat you as stable, but not dominant, reliable, but not leading, capable, but not decisive. Each interaction reinforces the previous one. The hierarchy hardens around you, and without noticing, you participate in maintaining it. Here's the part no one says out loud. The room is not reacting to your ideas first. It's reacting to your perceived financial weight. Before your logic lands, your income has already introduced you. Every hesitation confirms